Welcome to Kits At Roots. I'm Carolyn May, and this is Seed Saving. In this quick video, I just want to get your toes wet and get you guys exposed to what it means to save seeds. We're focusing on flowers today. I love flowers, and I want to show you different types of flowers, the process of saving, the process of storing, just kind of what I do in this world of seeds. How I got into seeds, I started buying them, right? And then I like letting plants go through the entire life cycle and see what happens at the end. And it's one of those, did I get the seeds that look like the ones I bought? And if so, great. Let's talk about different kinds of seeds. And when you're getting into seed saving, there's some important steps you have to remember. Seeds that are available fall into just a couple of categories. One being heirloom and open pollinated, and one being hybridized seeds. What does that mean? When you buy hybridized seeds, they take two flowers that have different traits, or different plants that have different traits, and they cross-pollinate them intentionally to get a certain result. And they like that result, so they take those two parents, cross them, get the same result. And this is repeated over and over and over and over again. Now, just like in any family, if mom's got blonde hair and dad's got black hair, the kids are going to look a certain way, but their kids aren't going to look like their parents. It's the same kind of genetics in plants. So when you're looking at seeds and you want to become a seed saver, avoid trying to save seeds from hybridized plants, just because oftentimes the offspring of those parent plants is inferior and inconsistent, and there's so many better options that it's just not worth it, in my opinion, I guess. It's a personal choice. If you want to try it, go for it. You might stumble upon the next best thing. The other side of the spectrum are open pollinated seeds and heirloom seeds. What does that mean? Open pollinated and heirloom, well, they're pretty much the same. Heirloom kind of falls into the category of open pollinated. Open pollinated means that the plants, if they're out in nature and are pollinated just with pollinators or by wind, they're going to always look the same way, generation after generation after generation. Heirloom plants are essentially open pollinated varieties that have been generation, like over and over and over and over again, and go way, way back, and they're always consistent. They're always the same. So that's the difference. If you are going to save seeds from your garden, it's important to understand how those seeds pollinate to avoid something called cross-pollination. And that's where, even if you have open pollinated or heirloom variety seeds, if you're not aware of this, you're essentially going to create your own hybrids and get different results. Not always bad. That's what seed breeders do, get new plants and new varieties. I'm doing my own little hybridizing in my garden intentionally, so we'll get into that too. All right, so we have heirloom, open pollinated. That's what I grow in my garden. Once you know that, you can start making a list of saving your seeds. If you're new to seed saving, I would recommend just picking a couple. Don't get overwhelmed with everything you have to save. Second thing I would say is stay organized. When you're going to save seeds, save one kind of seed at a time. Avoid doing what I did this morning and gathering a whole bunch of stuff from my garden and be like, we're going to save this one, this one, this one, this one. It gets a little overwhelming. So start simple. The next is to start with seeds that are self-fertile, that are easy to collect from because you know they're going to be consistent. That would be things like tomatoes are self-fertile, beans, peas. It means that they have both the male and female part inside the flower, and like peas, or like I have sweet pea pods. Sweet peas, they pollinate in the flower before the flower even opens. And yes, there is a possibility that a little bumblebee is going to come by and pollinate and could cause a cross, but generally speaking, sweet peas are a good one to start with because they're going to be consistent. If you're going to save sweet pea seeds, you want to wait until the pods are really dry. Here's one that's underripe. And once they're dry, I'm going to move this. This makes noise. Once they're dry, the seeds inside if they're really ripe, this one's not quite there yet, they'll rattle inside the casing. And then when you open them, you get these tiny little seeds. Let me open this other one that's not quite ready and show you what that'll look like. This is a perfect example. So here, these seeds that are green are not ripe. When it comes to seed saving, you hear a lot of information, conflicting information on the internet about when to harvest seeds. I want you guys to think about it like ripening your fruit. You can pick a tomato, right, when it's younger, and you can eat it, but it's not ripe. It's not juiciest at its juiciest state. The flavor is not there. The same thing goes with harvesting seeds like this. This is a sweet pea seed right here. Yeah, but it's not mature. Once it turns black, then it's mature. You can also hear the difference. The mature one is dry. It has developed a hard coat on it. The green one, you can tell it's softer. It's just not mature. So that's just one example. That's sweet peas. Next, let's talk about plants and flowers that are pollinated by pollinators, bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, all of our favorite little garden friends. One of those being the sunflower. The sunflower is in the Asteraceae family, which comprises a large group of flowers that we know and love. Things like Echinacea, asters, dahlias, those are all in the Asteraceae family. Understanding and knowing your plant family is really important when it comes to seed saving, because you can see how they can cross-pollinate, how they're related to each other, and it'll really take you a long way in your seed saving journey. So let's talk about sunflowers and how they work. Sunflowers are made up of inflorescence, which is a whole bunch of teeny tiny little flowers in the center of the flower. It's not one flower. It's sometimes hundreds or thousands of flowers. These teeny tiny flowers are called florets. They're perfect flowers, meaning they have the male and female part. And when pollinated, each one of these florets makes a seed. So here you can see a sunflower that has matured on the plant. I picked it this morning, and I wanted to tell you a few things about how you know when to pick. That's, I think, the biggest, the hardest part about learning how to save seeds is knowing when they're ripe. If you pick them too early, the seed inside is not going to be fully developed. If you wait too long, the critters outside are going to have them for lunch. So hopefully this will help you guys with that. So sunflowers, the ways that you know that they're ready to pick is if the flowers are drooping, hanging low, and if the bracts behind the flowers start turning a yellow or a brown color. You can see this sunflower here versus this one. This is the same plant. This one was just a mature, larger flower, right? But you can see how green the bracts are on the back of this one versus how yellow they are on this one. So this guy is much more mature, and I harvested it. I would let this really dry out more. If you pick your seeds before they're dry, what happens is you put them in a baggie, and 2 days later you come back and they're nice and fuzzy. Those seeds aren't going to last very long. So letting your seeds dry all the way is one of the most important parts about saving seeds. So I'm going to show you on this, but normally just know I would let this dry a lot more before I harvested these seeds. There's no rush. If you want to harvest the seeds, you just pull them out. Start on the outside of the circle, and you can just work your way around. The white ones on this flower head are seeds that were not properly germinated, didn't grow right, and I can see on this flower there's a lot of unfertilized seed pods. If you look here, the black seeds are fully ripe. Those little white and purplish seeds are not ripe. And so sunflowers, it's really easy to see if you have viable seeds or not viable seeds. One more thing with sunflowers, we know we eat sunflower seeds, right? You crack them open and the seed's inside. So this black part is not the seed. The seed, well, it doesn't want to come out. Come on. That right there is your sunflower seed. just like the ones you like to snack on. So this is the shell that keeps it safe. All right, that's sunflowers. Let's look at a few more in that same plant family. Echinacea is another fun one. Also in the aster family. Also can cross-pollinate and hybridize. These ones also. Anything pollinated by bees is susceptible to cross-pollination. And that means you're going to have the seed that it produces taking traits from the parent flowers that the pollen and the reproductive parts, right? When it's pollinated, you're going to get the traits of those parents. I hope that was clear. Anyway, Echinacea. This one I bought, and this was the seed pod, mature flower that was on it when I bought it, and it was surrounded by all of the same kinds of flowers. So I'm hoping that this seed pod is going to have seeds that are just like this. So let's move our sunflowers out of the way here. So Echinacea. There are different types of flower forms. This one has a single ray of flowers on the bottom, but all of these are the itty bitty flowers that get pollinated. You can even see some pollen. You get really close. You can see the pollen on top of this. So this one has been on the plant. It is very dry. The tips are not quite dry. I can pull on that and they're not going to come out. But the base are on the bottom. If I start pulling, this flower just starts coming off, right? Look at all of that. And so now looking at this, you have to know what's the flower, or what's the seed, not the flower. That's the flower. What's the seed? Okay, if I look through here, I want to find that and that. So you kind of sort through your seeds and you start seeing where the florets were, the parts that were pollinated, which parts were the anther. And you're looking for, oftentimes the seed is small, has a hard coat on it. But those right there are Echinacea seeds. This, on this side, those are all of these spikes. That's the, well, here's an entire one right there. So you have the anther, the pistil, all the male and female parts. And if I pull this out of here, that was the part that was pollinated. And there's my seed. This one is a little bit smaller, not as quite as mature as those ones. So on this flower, I would only really save the seeds that were right around the base. And on this one, I mean, you start taking this apart, I will probably get at least probably 50 seeds out of that one flower. To store these, once again, dry, 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 dry. There is a trick. Go to your craft store, go online, silica gel packets. These packets, you can buy them in large quantities. You put them in your bag with mostly dry. If they're really, really green and really wet, don't try this. It's not going to do enough. They're mostly dry. Pop the silica gel in with the seeds for a while, and that will help draw out any extra moisture in the container. So that's Echinacea. All right, wind pollinated flowers. Let's move this over here. So these were pollinated. We had self-pollinated the sweet pea. Let's talk about wind pollinated. This right here is called amaranth. Amaranth is a plant that's been around for and used for thousands and thousands of years. I'm still learning about it. I was reading up about it last night. Amaranth is edible. The seeds can be used as a grain. They are highly nutritious. They're beautiful. The leaves can be eaten like spinach. Like, it's a cool plant. So having this in your garden is awesome. To extract the seeds, you can see I'm just running my hands over it and they're just falling. The best way to do this, get a paper bag, put your flowers in the bag and just shake it. So the seeds on here, you can see the little pink parts. That's not the seed. The seeds are small and round and have a little redness on them. This is where having a bag collecting all of it is a lot easier than me showing you like this. So get a paper bag, shake it in there, and you'll get all of your seeds out. To separate seeds, there's You can get screening. You can do winnowing, which is where you have wind and you blow as you're getting your seeds out, and the lightweight chaff and stuff that's not seeds. Seeds are heavy, they want to fall to the ground. Those will just blow away. But for the home gardener, if you are just looking to save seeds, just let the whole thing dry, sprinkle it in your garden, and you'll have a whole patch, right? You don't have to go through the process of getting all of that stuff out. If you want to, it's time consuming, kind of fun, good mindfulness task, but that's your choice. So we have wind pollinated, pollinated or pollinated, self-pollinated. That's pretty much all of it. So knowing how your seeds fit into that is key. I want to show you guys a few more things. Oh, this is a big one. When it comes to plants to save seeds from, I want to show you the difference between two plants. Here's a marigold. This flower was from a plant that did not grow very large, has fewer flowers on it, just not as happy. This is the same flower, same bunch of seeds. Look at the size difference on those blooms and just the development of that. If you are going to save seeds, I would want to save seeds from this guy, not from this guy, okay? Because what happens is if you save seeds year after year, the plants, if you pick the most vigorous plants to save seeds from, they are going to become more adapted to your growing conditions, which is huge. When you buy seeds, they come from all over the country, often where they grow the easiest, and they get sent to you. So then you have to go through the process of trying to grow them on and get them to thrive. And if you get seeds from that plant and grow them for a few seasons, you're going to get vigor for your growing environment. So this little marigold, marigolds are really fun with kids because the seeds are so easy to save. I'll show you a couple seed pods here. This one being really green, this one dry and ready. If you harvest them at the green stage, the seeds will be viable, but again, there's a lot of moisture to come out of them and they might rot if you don't dry them properly. This guy right here, it's pretty stinking dry, and I would be confident that I could just pull my seeds out. Look at that, one flower and all of those seeds. Those seeds right there are mostly dry and ready to store. These seeds that still have the petals attached, it takes more work to pull them out. You can see that they're more green on the ends of them, where these are mostly white and gray. These ones would need to dry longer. So let the plant do the work for you. Let it dry on the plant. A few other ones. Oh, hybridizing. This right here is a Dahlia. I want to show you different stages. This is a solar flare Dahlia. That's what it looks like in bloom. And I actually have some unopened pods here. So these are the different stages. This is an unopened bloom. This is the bloom. And then this is the seed pod. Between the bloom and the seed pod, you can see the bloom is really tight and really round, and the seed pod has more of a cone-like shape. So this right here has seeds inside. Let's find them. I am just learning about Dahlia seed saving. Found a great teacher in a woman in California called Santa Cruz Dahlias. She's a knowledgeable breeder and has taught a lot. So that right there, right along this edge, and there's so much moisture on this. These will have to dry. So again, I'm just showing you, but this one I would allow it to dry all the way before I would harvest. But those right there are Dahlia seeds. Some flowers are saved specifically for the seed pods. Here's one. This is a scabiosa. I can't remember the name of it. It is pretty in bloom. Here it is in bloom and flower, and here it is completely dried. And these long stems are great filler and dried arrangements, or just used in regular flower arrangements. But to harvest these seeds, you just pull them off. And each one of these little badminton birdies, that's what they look like. Each one of those is a seed. So one flower, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's at least 20 seeds on this one flower head. So when it comes to seed saving, often if it's just for your garden, saving one flower is all you would need. I would recommend saving 2 or 3, because then you're maintaining genetic diversity between the plants. You're not just going to get a really inbred flower, right? 2 or 3 flowers is good. Oh, one other one. This is the last one I'll show today. If you like these, I am happy to do lots more of these seed sharing, pick and talk little demonstration videos with all the other things I do in my garden. This is money plant. The name of it, I can't remember. I'll put it in the description below. The seeds for these are so fun to harvest. Okay, let's put it on here so we can see. Clear a spot in all of my seedy goodness. To save the seeds, you just kind of rub it between your fingers, and these little papery cards come off. Your seeds are these cute, cute little guys right there, and you're left with this papery, iridescent, I don't know what you even call it, leaf? Seed pod? No, it's a seed pod. And you just kind of come through here and you pull off all of these. Mindfulness. So fun and addicting, which is why I have stacks and stacks of seeds. But you can see the difference between this guy here and the ones that have not been cleaned yet. So once they're cleaned off, these dried flowers, or not flowers, dried seed pods are great in wreath making, make a little flower crown, dried flower crown, use them in dried arrangements. They're so awesome. So these are ones that will be going in my landscape soon. So there's that. I hope this is getting you guys excited. I hope you learned something. If you have other flowers you would like to see closer up, I'm doing on my Instagram account some specific flower to seed posts. I've done ones on daisies, on bachelor button, on gaillardia. This one's gaillardia. It's really funky and pretty. I like this one. I've done seed saving on that one. Here are the seeds. If you go on my Instagram account, the hashtag is KR seed saving. And every time I save seeds, they will always have that hashtag. So you can go check out what I have saved seeds from so far. And you'll be able to see the flower in bloom and the seed at harvest and all the little bits, not just the seeds. So hopefully it'll help clear up seed saving. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Welcome to Kitsap Roots, guys. I'm Carolyn May, and today we are going to get into seed saving. Take 2. I want to
introduce you to seed saving.
Introduce you to seed saving. Getting started is the hardest part. Getting excited, get excited. Welcome to Kitsap Roots. I'm Carolyn May, and I want to introduce you guys today
to seed saving. Welcome to Kitsap Roots. I'm Jason Fukura. This is seed saving.
He's good at this. I should hire him.